Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Cywes, the CarbAddictionDoc, and today we're going to talk about something that most of you know is critically important in my life. Coffee? Coffee, anyone? I am a carb addict. Always have been, always will be. Whether I was fat or thin. This doesn't matter. This matters. And one of the things I recognized early on is that drinking takes three forms. Human beings are designed to drink for hydration. And what fat people do is they drink things that get them high. Just like an alcoholic, we drink sugary beverages. I used to drink a case of Coke a day. Yeah, it takes a lot of work to be 300 pounds or fat. I would drink on average a case of Coke a day at my work days. And some M&Ms just for variety. So we should drink for hydration. Fat people, type 2 diabetics, drink for emotional liberation. We drink sugar and starch as a drug to activate our endorphin system to help us deal with our emotions. But there's a third reason why we drink. And the third reason is a corrective reason. The way the human brain works is the human brain can focus for about 20 to 30 minutes at any one time. That's dopamine that builds up, that helps us to focus, helps us to concentrate. And as the dopamine levels in our brain cells rise, they eventually start to become a little bit toxic to the cell, and you can no longer focus or concentrate. And what we need to do is to drop the dopamine level very rapidly. And there's another hormone in our brain cells particularly that drops dopamine rates very quickly. It's called serotonin. So when you're focusing, when you're concentrating, when you're really deeply intent on something, that's dopamine building up. Serotonin gets triggered by what we call endorphin activating behaviors and substances. And it needs to be a quick trigger. What are the triggers? Carbohydrates are a trigger. Consuming carbohydrates either as a Coke or an M&M, endorphin trigger. Alcohol, having a cigarette. Think about the guy that's out there about every 20 to 30 minutes. Oh, I need a cigarette. They're not saying they need a cigarette. What they're saying is they need a serotonin moment. They need a little moment of relief from their dopamine. And when I was fat, my serotonin relief came from Coke and M&Ms. And I recognized that, and it's called a snack in the modern lingo. A snack is basically calories that you consume for emotional relief, for serotonin activation. That's what a snack is. So what I looked at is I said, okay, I know as I transitioned from being a fat guy up here, I know I need that serotonin moment. But I can't have calories. I want to have a relationship with something that's readily available, that's ritualized in my life, that's habituated in my life, that causes me no caloric harm. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm not a fan of water. I'll drink water for hydration. Remember, there were three parts. Water for hydration, absolutely fine. I love my water for hydration, but water does nothing from a serotonin activation perspective for me. It may for you. But I discovered coffee. And growing up, I grew up in an English system which drank a lot of tea, but I migrated across to coffee. And it may be the caffeine in the coffee, but there are no studies that tell me that that's bad for me. And I can tell you this, that my relationship with coffee has become very intense. Now, usually it's black. Sometimes I have some cream, sometimes a little bit of whole milk in there. But my coffee is my serotonin activator. And I use it about every 20 to 30 minutes. It's always available to me. It's a ritualistic response. That is how I use my coffee. Now, I'm not saying just drink coffee. My wife, for example, will mix up some Crystal Light. Yeah, and then one of the next conversations is going to be about artificial sweeteners. She'll mix up some Crystal Light, and she always has a big mug of Crystal Light with some ice in it. That's her thing. Is it perfect? No. But it's darn good in terms of its serotonin relief. So that's how I use my coffee. My coffee is that middle category of drinking that most people don't even respect or know about. It is my serotonin relief. So there's hydration, there's addiction, which is sugary drinks. Sugar, the drink being the vehicle for the sugar or the alcohol. And then the middle one is serotonin relief, that is my bridge item, that is my coffee. Now let's talk a bit further about coffee. Oh my God, it's so bad for you. Oh my God. It's not perfect. First person to say it is not perfect. I love my coffee. And if you love your coffee, the harm is so irrelevant, so trivial, that it's fine to drink coffee. All too often, I get authoritarian perfectionists that only want to drink water from the Rocky Mountains or some spring well somewhere. The problem with being that rigid is that when you crash completely. There is no reason to only drink water, because it's not harmful. The other things that we can drink in that realm are just not harmful. And if they prevent you from doing greater harm to yourself, it's absolutely fine. Now, there is an association with coffee and bladder cancer, but the study is pretty weak. Other than that, coffee is not the problem. Coffee is not the problem when it comes to acid reflux. That's a carbohydrate problem and a hiatal hernia problem. But so many, don't drink coffee, don't drink coffee. If coffee works for you, drink it. There is no real measurable harm. And if you want to put some artificial sweetener in it, knock yourself out. And if you want to drink decaf or real coffee, I've just never understood the value of decaf, but there are plenty of people out there that love decaf coffee. I'm fine with that. I just like to feel the hair grow on my chest when I drink my coffee. But that's a personal quirk rather than a scientific fact. Don't be afraid of coffee. Don't be afraid of tea. Those are fine. Don't be a perfectionist. I hope that helped. Argue with me if you wish. There's a comment section below. But be factual in your arguments, not emotive. Thanks for listening.